This is WCRN Weekend with your host, Pat Rice.
You are now tuned in to another episode of WCRN Weekends with Pat Rice on AM 830. And today we have Dr. Clark, who is a professional, experienced chiropractor who has his office located out in Quincy, Mass. And we're going to talk about how you can keep your spine healthy and exactly what a chiropractor does. Thank you for joining us today, Dr. Clark. How are you?
I'm outstanding today, Pat, and I want to say thank you for letting me come on your program and share about my chiropractic profession.
Hey, no problem. Anytime. We want to know all about it. Dr. Clark, could you tell us a little bit about yourself and how you discovered your interests into chiropractic work and your journey into the alternative medicine?
Sure, Pat. Well, I grew up locally here in Milton, Massachusetts, and I was always active in sports. I love most sports. I went to college at UMass Amherst and graduated with a degree in civil engineering. While I was at UMass, I was on the wrestling team for 4 years. We had a Division I program, great program at the time. In my last year, I played rugby. The first time I played rugby, the first game I played, I knew this was the game I was meant to play. I played for the next 20 years. While I was at UMass, I met my wife, Catherine, who's a registered nurse from University of Massachusetts, and she's my lifelong partner and my business partner. She's been a very strong advocate for the chiropractic profession and our patients. I have a daughter and 2 wonderful grandchildren. After graduating, I worked as an engineer involved with sales in the steel industry, and that was in the 80s. I played rugby with the Boston Rugby Club, a very competitive team. In 1990, I was actually on the picked for the U.S. Eagles. That's the national rugby team. So I took it very seriously and was very competitive. During this time, I was actually 32 at the time, I sustained an injury to my neck. And traditional medicine really didn't help me that much. 6 months of seeing specialists, and I had radiating pain down my left arm, and it was really very uncomfortable. And other than the anti-inflammatories, nothing really helped it much. That just dealt with the symptoms and not the cause. Mm-hmm. So then I started out chiropractic care, which completely changed my health and life around. A year later, I made a decision to pursue a second career, obtained a doctorate in chiropractic at Life University in Marietta, Georgia. And in 1997, we moved home and opened up a family chiropractic practice in Quincy. You asked about alternative medicine. We're now starting to see a shift in healthcare where chiropractic is no longer seen as an alternative, but as one of the first places to go and receive conservative, drug-free, cost-effective care for your spinal complaints. Mm-hmm. That's how I got to where I am today, Pat.
You know, that's very interesting. You know, it's incredible work that you do, helping other people out with their problems, their spinal problems, or neck issues, back problems, and especially without using drugs. That's a major problem. The pharmaceutical companies are huge money makers and have caused huge problems, especially within New England with the current opiate epidemic. Now, just to go back a little bit, you said when you received a neck injury, did the doctors put you on prescribed medicine?
Well, the strong anti-inflammatories of the day was naproxen. And I remember that because if I didn't have something to eat, it bothered me terribly. And it did help the pain a little bit, but it didn't make it. All it's doing is dealing with the symptoms. Chiropractic gets to the cause of the problem, where drugs really mask the symptoms. So they don't really get to the underlying problem. And the underlying problem was I had a herniated disc in my neck at C6. So seeing the chiropractor for the first time, I immediately walked out of that office and felt better. Not 100%, but I felt better. I knew I was in the right path. So after a couple of weeks, I was back to 100%, feeling great. And I said, wow, I'd like to do that. So a year later, we packed up and moved down south to Georgia. And here we are 21 years later.
Yes, that's terrific. That's what I truly call a success story. So chiropractic, it gets straight to the problem, like you said, compared to like a prescription drug, which just erases the pain for a few hours but doesn't attack the exact problem. Chiropractor, you go deep into the person's muscles or spines and you really work out and see what's going on, what's wrong, and you advise what the individual should do. How safe and beneficial is getting adjusted every so often? Like, should people without back problems get adjusted for their own health?
That's a good question, Pat. Chiropractic care is widely recognized as one of the safest drug-free, non-invasive therapies available for back and neck pain, pain in the arms and legs. Headaches are a big one. 90% of headaches are created by misalignments in the cervical spine. I have all these other neuromuscular complaints that we can help with. So from a safety standpoint, I'm going to talk about malpractice insurance for a moment. As chiropractors, we have the lowest rate among physician groups for our payments of malpractice. And that's because these actuaries that work for these insurance companies, this makes sense to people that know anything about insurance. The actuaries determine that we have the lowest rate because we're not getting sued. We don't hurt people. So it's, your primary care probably pays 5 times what I pay. You go all the way up to OBGYN, they pay ridiculous amounts. We have an excellent safety record for our profession. You mentioned about people and come in, they feel good when they leave. My job satisfaction is off the charts because people come and see me. I help them with their issues and get them back into their life, whether it be their jobs or the things that they want to do the most. And like I said, it's extremely safe.
What are some of the most strenuous activities and or sports for the spine?
Your high-impact sports, football, rugby, wrestling. For instance, the NFL, every single NFL team has a chiropractor that is at the games, both on the road and home, so that all those NFL teams recognize the efficacy of chiropractic. I took care of a longtime NHL player, and he told me that the owners love the chiropractors because they got them back on the ice quicker than anybody else did. So it's, these extreme sports, they get adjusted and correct any misalignments and prevent further injury down the road as well. So it helps their performance and injury prevention.
So having a professional chiropractor on your team is a necessity to be successful and stay strong and healthy.
Sure. And me, myself, I continue to work out, and I came up with the term that we are all working animals, whether you're in the 60s, 70s, 80s, 90s. You have to do something every day to help yourself out. You have to stay strong and limber, and when you get older, it doesn't mean you can sit down and stop doing things. You have to actually keep up with it and do more. Exactly,
because if you just sit down and do absolutely nothing, you're literally going to wither away.
And we don't want that to happen.
No, we don't. And the spine is so important to keep healthy. If you have one issue with your spine, it can really throw your life off track. So how well does the spine age?
Well, our spine ages based on a variety of factors, including your exercise activity levels, nutrition, genetics, our exposure to pollutants, including smoking and environmental pollutants. Emotional stress does a real job on us as well. So as people come and see me, exercises are specific to each individual based on what we find upon their exam and history. So we tailor the program to each individual.
Mm-hmm.
Now, you asked how the spine ages. People lose height when they get older. Now, I'm going to use the average person that's 5'10", that's a 28-inch spine. Out of those 28 inches, there are 24 discs, and that makes up 7 inches of the 28 inches. So as you get older, they can the discs between the bones, between the vertebrae, dehydrate and compress. And so when you do get older, your bones stay the same size, but the discs flatten out. And as that happens, your spinal bones can degenerate as well. Then you have fixations in the spine, and that's why seeing a chiropractor is so valuable as you go along, that you may not feel anything, you may not know you have a problem, but your chiropractor does a chiropractic exam called motion palpation. You find those fixated joints, you free them up and return the normal motion to those joints. That's going to give you the best long-term benefits that you can get. Now, bone density is something that, 98% of the people that have issues with bone density are women.
Really?
So when women get to be in their 50s and 60s, they have to start worrying about osteopenia, which will lead to osteoporosis. So to guard against that, my recommendation is for people to stay active. That segment of the population should be doing some load-bearing exercises to make the muscle stronger, which attaches to the bone, which makes the bone denser. That's how keeping up with a weight-bearing activity and it's great for your bones, and that's something we encourage that segment of the population.
Definitely. What would be some general exercises that you would recommend to an individual that just wants to maintain the strength of their spine?
Well, that's a pretty open-ended question, but we have a series of exercises that we give all our patients to do that keeps them, you look at all the gym memberships out there, and how many people actually go to the gym?
The gym
so there's not a one-size-fits-all, so we really customize it to each individual.
Okay. But is there, any exercise that anyone can do? What's an example of an exercise?
The old-fashioned push-up is an all-body exercise. Now, some people can't do push-ups. That's okay. And we'll modify it. We'll say, okay, do it from your knees. Oh, I can do those. That's the way to do that. And that envelops the whole core and everything. Core strength is huge nowadays. It's a relatively new concept, but been around a long time. So core strength is crucial to maintaining a good, healthy spine.
Oh, wow. So it's good to do sit-ups and crunches then?
Well, if you do sit-ups improperly, like we were taught in gym years ago, we're wrong. So crunches are more the way to go than doing a complete sit-up. We kind of, that's not really good for your back.
Oh, wow. Because it puts too much pressure on it?
Too much pressure and strain on the back, yes. So if you do a proper crunch and you're taught how to do it, you won't hurt yourself.
Oh, well, that's good to know. I never knew that, but I can definitely see how doing too many sit-ups or even doing too much weight for abs can really be detrimental to your spine.
And as you get older, you want to do less weight and more repetitions.
Mm-hmm.
So.
That's perfect to know. I'm sure there's a lot of people out there listening right now wanting to know what exercises they can do that won't be too strenuous, but will be absolutely beneficial to them. And they're hearing it right now as we talk with Dr. Clark. Overall,
the best thing you can do is people think of walking. That's not much exercise. Walking's fabulous. It's the best thing for you, walking.
Really, compared to running?
Running can have drawbacks, and as you get older, it's too much impact. But walking doesn't have that impact. So a good walk with a good pace that makes you breathe a little bit. That's perfect exercise for everybody.
Excellent, and it's nice and it's simple. I don't want to say it's easy, but it can be enjoyable. You can go outside and enjoy the fresh air, enjoy the views, and you can still break a sweat and need to catch your breath afterwards.
Absolutely.
And I know with running, you don't want to run or maybe even walk on a sidewalk. Is it true that compared to a sidewalk and the actual road, that a sidewalk is a lot more harder on your feet?
Well, people who do like to run, I suggest that they run on a track or run on the grass. When you run on the grass or a walking pathway, it's 1/4 the impact when you're on concrete or asphalt. So when you run on concrete and asphalt, that's 4 times the impact as running on a trail or grass. So when you think of that in those terms, it's a lot less wear and tear in the body.
Definitely, yeah. So overall, how would you define the average American's posture?
This is here's a new problem we're having in this day and age. The increase in ongoing use of technology, your smartphones, your iPads, the laptops, the Kindles. It's especially it affects the whole spine. There's an official term called text neck. And over time, if habits are not changed, structural changes in our spine will occur. And with that, degenerative changes happen and pain comes on. So chiropractic offices regularly educate their patient base on how to prevent text neck, as well as using the best setup for your posture, overall spine when using a computer and other technology. Now, a large percentage of my patient base works at a desk, at a computer. And I say sitting is the new smoking.
Mm-hmm.
It's, 4 to 6 times the amount of pressure on the discs of your lower back when you sit. So the best position to be in, and people hear this, what's the best position to be in? It's the next position. You have to keep changing positions. We're not meant to sit at a desk for 8 hours a day. So we have stretches and exercises where we teach people that they take mini breaks every 30 minutes. Now, a mini break consists of 15 to 30 seconds of standing up, do a back extension, do a stretch. I do the opposite of hunching over your desk as you extend back. And so, like I say, a large percent of the people that I see work in an office in front of a computer. So having that monitor at the right height, having you sit properly, it's really important. By the way, laptops are not meant to be on your lap.
Really?
Now, your chiropractor's office and National Association's website is a great place to obtain information. We have the American Chiropractic Association has excellent information for the general public, and you can use acatoday.org. So it's www.acatoday.org, and that's the American Chiropractic Association. They've got fantastic information for people who are looking at places to find out about your posture and chiropractic, and it's a great website.
Terrific. Now, do you notice that there's a lot more neck problems occurring as technology advances? We're constantly looking down at our cell phones. I not too long ago, I saw in the news that neck problems are becoming a huge issue now because people are just constantly looking down. Could you tell us a little bit about the effects of constantly looking down at your phone or computers?
I'll give you some numbers as far as that goes.
Yeah.
Your head is about 12 pounds. Average person, 12, 13 pounds. As you flex your head forward and look down at your device, that increases 2 to 3 times the amount of pressure in your neck. So if you just think of that, I'm sitting on my cell phone half the day with my head down, that stress builds up. So it's a real problem, and I see it in my office all the time. And we educate people on how to use these new technologies and how to do it the right way.
Exactly. And, it's great knowledge, and it's very beneficial because you don't want to get to be 60 or 80 years old, hopefully not any more sooner than that, and be completely, hunched over. And you do see people like that, and you can't help but feel kind of bad or be like, oh, I hope that's not me. All of a sudden, you're fixing your posture just for that 5 minutes within the day. But people need to always fix their posture throughout the day.
Sure. Now, a very interesting thing is I see people over the years. I see everybody from day-old babies to people that are over 100. And these people that I see, the elderly population that have seen chiropractors throughout their life, their health status is so much better than their counterparts who haven't seen chiropractors. And it just makes a big, big difference over the long time of your life that you get adjusted on a regular basis, and your health is definitely worth it. And these people have done outstanding as far as what they're doing in their life. They're living at home in their 80s and 90s. And it's just great for me to see that I help people like that.
Oh, definitely. Yeah, no, it's terrific. And it's natural, too. It's not take a pill and you'll be fine. This is actually get into the root cause of the problem. And so what are some of the main cases that most patients come to you for? And how did they get into that situation? Was it due to sports or just not using the right type of posture when picking up heavier items?
I could say yes to all that. Main reasons one seeks chiropractic services involves usually pain brings them in. It's the lower back, the neck, the thoracics, which is the mid back. Then you have your extra spinal joints, shoulders, wrists, knees, ankles. We adjust all the joints of the body. Headaches is another big thing that people come for. Again, I mentioned cervical spine, that headaches 90% of the time that's where the problem is, a fixation in the cervical spine. So this non-invasive, drug-free approach is what people are looking for. So when they come to our office, we do a thorough history exam, as is necessary, take x-rays of the spine. Then we provide a plan of care based on this information. Now, if there are issues that are found outside our scope of practice, we would refer that patient back to their primary care provider when appropriate.
Do you feel that chiropractors get the credit that they deserve for their work?
I never really thought of that. I had mentioned job satisfaction because when people come in with these issues, and generally speaking, you come in, and by the time you leave, you usually feel better when you're leaving, and they say thank you. And that, to me, for my job satisfaction, like I mentioned, is off the charts because I'm able to help people where it's a very nice, elegant model. You have a fixation in your spine, get that chiropractic adjustment, teach them the proper exercises to do, and then they go forth in their life and they do the things they want to do. They're called activities of daily living, ADLs. That's what brings people to us, repetitive stress, what they're doing. And so they come, they get help, and they say thank you. And I don't think I really thought much about chiropractors getting the credit they deserve. We've been separate and distinct from the AMA, the American Medical people, and they try to take over chiropractic in the 20s, 30s, 40s, 50s. So this goes back a long way. We've made our independence, and we're separate and distinct from the allopathic medicine. Now, when you look at the TV, 2 out of every 3 commercials is about a drug.
Yeah.
That billion-dollar pharmaceutical industry is propping up and pushing medicine. We're not part of that. So we don't get the benefit of that billion-dollar exposure. But that's okay. I knew when I got into this I'd be swimming against the stream for a while, and I feel like it's gotten a lot easier. Like you said, alternative. I feel we're a lot more mainstream now.
Definitely. I was going to say, and that's why some people might have looked at chiropractic work as being controversial. How does a chiropractic become trained educationally for their line of work, and what do they do for ongoing training? Okay, so chiropractic schools, it's the same number of hours as medical training. And your doctors of osteopathy, DOs, medical schools, allopathic MDs. It's basically after you do your undergraduate, there's a 4-year program. It's 4 years full-time, and that includes classroom, laboratory, a clinical internship. So we really, the education and licensing requirements for doctors of chiropractic are among the most stringent for any of the healthcare professions. So, and on a yearly basis,
we need to do continuing education requirements to maintain our license. We study different things, obviously, in medical school. Medical school, we spend a lot of time on pharmacology. I think it's a 3-hour program, and we spend more time spinal anatomy, X-rays, MRIs. So it's the same number of hours. It's just a different program.
I want to thank you for your time, Dr. Clark, today. How would you say does a listener get in touch with their local chiropractor, or better yet, want to get in touch with you for more information and learn more about the practice?
Word of mouth is usually the best, is the key. You ask your friends and neighbors. There are national websites, such as American Chiropractic Association, which has local doctors in the area. You could, Clark Chiropractic in Quincy, that's an easy one. You just Google that, and I'd be happy to help anybody that called. And you check your insurance provider directory. Speaking of insurance, that's something that's changed also. Compared to years ago, most of the plans have chiropractic coverage. And they're doing that because we're very cost effective, and people are asking for it. Like in your state's exchange, all the insurance plans in the state's exchange have chiropractic. And that's something that's changed in 2012 with the Affordable Care Act that came on. And so we meet those essential health benefits, and chiropractic care is included in that. So we've come a long way as far as being included with the insurance company, and that's
major. That's huge. That's so great. That's so convenient too. So on a last note, Dr. Clark, can you tell us, is there any type of foods or vitamins that someone could maybe take on a daily basis that would also help in supporting a healthy spine along with getting chiropractic work done?
That's one of the 5 pillars of health, having proper nutrition. Now, there's no one-size-fits-all vitamin that is going to make it work for you. Having a good quality fish oil is very important. And, really natural foods, whole foods, our fast food restaurants really don't give you a very nutritional meal. So, buying good, fresh, organic fruits and vegetables, that doesn't change. Good food is good food. It's good for you.
Exactly. And I don't think enough people eat enough of good food.
Yeah, well, that's a problem we have in our society. Well, listen, Pat, I wanted to thank you for giving me an opportunity to talk about the chiropractic profession today.
Hey, anytime. My pleasure, Dr. Clark. And thank you for coming on to our show to discuss and inform us about the powerful benefits of chiropractic work. And it's all natural. This has been another episode of WCRN Weekends with Pat Rice on AM 830. We'll see you guys next weekend.
This has been WCRN Weekend and your host, Pat Rice.